Pasta comes in many different shapes and sizes. Some dishes that are made with pasta are traditional. Two things, which is great. So now we're just gonna cook the pasta. I love it when it's easy. And some can be a little more off the beaten path. Now I'm supposed to rinse it with cold water and put olive oil on it, which might not be the most traditional Italian way to do it. Whoa, ow, they're popping. This is a dangerous pasta. There's a Vietnamese profile here, and then you get marinara sauce. But at the end of the day, all that matters is that it brings us all a little bit of joy. Whoa, I absolutely love this. This is so fabulous. So today we're looking at 5 special pasta creations from 5 different people around the world. And we're starting with a dish, of course, from Italy.
Hi Beryl, my name is Maru. I live in Bolzano in South Tyrol, which is in the Italian Alps. The dish I would like you to try today is Orecchiette alle Cime di Rapa. It originally comes from Puglia in the south of Italy.
Rhea is crying in the background. Wah! We were gonna wait for it to end, but like, look, I have babies now, it is what it is. So we're using broccoli rabe. Broccoli rabe is in the same family as broccoli. It's more bitter. You can use every single part of it. We're just gonna trim the bottom of this so that it's a little less tough, but you can often saute it, which is what we're gonna do. I also like that this is from Andy Boy. Okay, we calmed her down, just so you all know. I didn't just leave her there crying.
In English, it would translate to orecchiette pasta with broccoli rabe. Broccoli rabe are slightly bitter, dark green vegetables.
That is all the prep. 2 things, which is great. So now we're just gonna cook the pasta. I love it when it's easy. So for this, we are using orecchiette pasta, which means little ears, and it's a great pasta for... Okay, I just want you all to know that we do have a nanny so that Reg and I could go back to work, and she is with Rhea. I haven't just like left her sobbing in the other room. Okay, I'm just gonna check on her. Anyway, like I was saying, these are called orecchiette, which means little ears, and they have an indent on one side, which is good for soaking up sauces, for holding little vegetables. It's my favorite type of pasta and Leia's favorite type of pasta. It's got like a beautiful chewy texture when you cook it, and it's just fun. It's just fun to eat.
Interestingly, the toasted breadcrumbs that are often added at the end used to be a cheaper substitute for Parmesan at the time.
The recipe says to let the anchovies melt. I'm not really sure what that means. Like, are they, oh, they're kind of melting. Whoa, ow, they're popping. Turn down, turn down. Look at that. Ow, cool. It's popping on me, so I'm standing really far. Oh my gosh, my anchovies have melted. What?
The orecchiette in Italian means little ears.
I think that looks good. We'll see how much it wilts down.
It's a small concave pasta shape, and it's perfect for catching chunky sauces such as the Cime di Rapa.
Hello. Hello. That's like the most iconic way to say hello. Leia and I were just talking when I did like the hello. We realized that we were both doing 2 different songs. I was thinking about Adele and she was thinking about Lionel Richie. So which hello do you think of?
Hello, is it me you're looking for? Hello, it's me.
Which song do you think of when I say hello?
Normally pasta dishes, in my opinion, are not very good when you heat them up, but in this case, it's very tasty if you just fry it up in a little bit of olive oil and add some extra Parmesan.
These breadcrumbs I made myself from a crusty old baguette, so they're a little bit fine, but you know, I didn't want that baguette to go to waste, and I think they're gonna kind of do what they're meant to do. They're meant to be crunchy, but it's what I have, it's what I did. Waste not, want not, you know, all that. Chili with 2 L's? Why did I think it was 2 L's?
Orecchiette alle Cime di Rapa is a dish of the so-called cucina povera, which was traditionally eaten by Italian peasants. It uses cheap ingredients, but you can still create a healthy dish which is very satisfying and umami.
I'm gonna top this with a finishing olive oil, and this is my favorite one currently called Hua olive oil. This is not sponsored. I just really love this small brand. It's a Palestinian olive oil. It's great to support them, and it tastes really, really good.
My husband, when I asked him why should people try this, he said it feels homely and wildly different from anything you will normally eat. So, buon appetito!
We of course have to start out with an Italian pasta because this is a pasta episode. I love broccoli rabe, and so I think this pasta is going to be up my alley. Let's get a big piece. That is delicious. Ooh, a little spicy. I did go extra on my chili with 2 L flakes. Chili with double L's. So broccoli rabe is interesting to me because it does have a really bitter taste. You should know that going into it. If you've never had it, it does taste bitter. But when you combine it with everything in a dish like this, it becomes one flavor in a well-rounded melange of flavors, I would say. The Orecchiette is doing a really nice job of picking up some of the chili flakes and the cheese and the breadcrumbs and a bit of the anchovies. Even though they've melted, there are still little bits of it. So each time you eat, you get a little pocket full of flavor. I think it's so cool how the anchovies actually melted and made a sauce. I wasn't sure that that was gonna happen. I thought they would just stay whole, but they melted down and you don't taste them too much. There's just a saltiness to this that I think is really good, and I think that that's what the anchovies did. It's not fishy. Even though my breadcrumbs are really fine, I still taste a little bit of crunch from them, and so adding breadcrumbs I think is definitely the right thing. It gives you crunchiness with the chewiness of the pasta. Yum. Pasta's 10 out of 10. The Italians know how to do pasta. Like, sorry everyone else, but they really do. Fabulous. Outside of Orecchiette, there are tons of different and amazing pasta shapes out there. There's rigatoni, radiatore, pappardelle, to name a few. And you can make amazing dishes with all of them. So I'm gonna show you 3 easy pasta dishes that you can make using pasta that I got from Wild Grain, the sponsor of today's episode. Wild Grain is the first baked from frozen subscription box for sourdough breads, pastries, and fresh pastas. One thing I love is that they partner with small bakers and pasta makers from across the country. All of their products baked from frozen in 25 minutes or less, no thawing required. The first pasta that we're making is a rigatoni with a pork ragu. You quickly brown some pork, add in marinara sauce, and cook your pasta al dente, and boom, you're done. Another great thing about Wild Grain is that they constantly are adding seasonal products, so your box will change every month. For example, this month I got these 3 pastas: donuts, truffle churned butter, white chocolate strawberry biscuits, ham and cheese pastries, and a rosemary loaf. And of course croissants, because with your subscription box, you get free croissants for life. The next pasta is a pappardelle with crispy mushrooms, lemon zest, parsley, and cheese. Cook your pappardelle till it's al dente, crisp up some mushrooms, chop your parsley, add some lemon zest, and then top it all off with some Parmigiano Reggiano. Wild Grain has over 40,000 5-star reviews and has been rated Best Food Subscription Box by USA Today 3 times in a row. The last pasta that we're making is radiatore with baby peas, sun-dried tomatoes, scallions, and fresh basil on top. You're gonna boil your pasta until it's al dente, add peas at the last moment, saute your green onion, and add your sun-dried tomatoes. Add a bit of pasta water, then the pasta back in, and top it all off with basil. So there you have it, 3 simple pastas to make from your Wild Grain box. It tastes like summer. I recommend you check out Wild Grain. They also have gluten-free, protein, and vegan boxes. Try out Wild Grain today, use my code Beryl, and you will get $30 off your first box, plus, like I said earlier, free croissants for life.
Hi Beryl, I'm Nat. I'm from Texas in the United States of America. The dish that I am delighted and honored to share with you is a unique, original family fusion recipe. It combines classic American Italian style spaghetti with marinara sauce and meatballs, and marries that to a southern Vietnamese dish called Bánh Tằm Bì, which involves like coconut milk and fresh herbs and vegetables.
All right, so now we're gonna make the meatballs of our spaghetti and meatballs, which is not spaghetti and meatballs at all, but still has spaghetti and meatballs.
So my Caucasian, born in the United States mother had made, American spaghetti. The next day, my dad transformed it by adding a sweet coconut cream sauce, fish sauce, and shredded lettuce and cucumber, bean sprouts, pickled vegetables, and crushed peanuts.
So the pasta that we're using for this is spaghetti, and I realized, maybe a little too late, but that we're using a different type of pasta shape for each of these dishes, which I think is very cool. But the spaghetti noodles in this case are gonna be really good in a creamy sauce. It'll coat the noodles. It makes sense, Let's get the spaghetti in the pot. I feel like cooking for one is so hard, which is why I'm doing a cooking for one episode. If you have a good dish, let me know in the comments, and if you want to be in the episode, email me and let me know. But yeah, cooking for one, spaghetti for one, I think this is probably spaghetti for one. Although I do not have meatballs for one, I have meatballs for like 3. It's okay. We decided we needed a little more. Spaghetti for one, but like on camera, it needs to be a little more robust. So, get in. So I just took the meatballs out of the oven and all we did was broil them for 5 minutes on each side, and it worked like a charm. Like, it seems too simple. I never thought about broiling meatballs, but they look really good. They've got a little bit of char, they still have their shape. I didn't have to do anything. Very cool trick to cooking meatballs. Now I'm supposed to rinse it with cold water and put olive oil on it, which might not be the most traditional Italian way to do it, but this is how Nat's dad did it, so this is how we're doing it.
By no means is it reflective of the original dish because it is combining 2 cultures, but either way, you have these long, tender noodles that really soak up that sauce.
I'm not really sure how thick I want this to be. I'm gonna be adding soy beverage to this, not soy milk, soy beverage, and that'll thin it out, but I think I'm there. Like, it's a sauce. All right, let's add soy beverage.
And you get a balance and explosion of complementary flavors, contrasting textures and temperatures, and a really colorful, pleasing dish.
Oh my God, there's so many more steps still. There's so much more that needs to go on top of this pasta dish. I feel like I've been cooking it forever. Nat, I love you and your cat, but this has a lot of steps.
I do hope you enjoy it. I hope you give it a try, that and the original dish. I think both are delicious. I've also added some of my own enhancements and tweaks, so to speak. I hope you like it and happy eating. I was happy to share. I can't wait to see what other pasta dishes there are.
This is definitely a fusion at-home dish, which I'm intrigued by. It was a lot of work. There was a lot of chopping, a lot of sauteing, a lot of cooking, a lot of soy beverage using. Let's get in here. Get the marinara mixed with the coconut. I'm worried about my white shirt. There's a Vietnamese profile here, and then you get marinara sauce. I think that I like all of this. I'm just not sure about the marinara sauce. Let's have some pasta with my lettuce though. It's just crunchy and it's nice. I've had lettuce before with like rice noodles and tapioca noodles, but never with a spaghetti. But I think that it still works because the spaghetti is like, it's quite interchangeable with a rice noodle. Not as bouncy, but same design. Meatballs are good. These are good meatballs. Easy recipe. Even easier to cook them. I really like the coconut cream sauce with the soy beverage. I think it tastes really good with the pasta. I like the pickled radish and cucumber. It gives a nice acidic burst of everything. The lime juice is good. I think the marinara sauce is what makes this a really interesting fusion dish. Maybe I put a little bit too much on for my own palate. I'm not sure, but I think that this is something worth experimenting with, and really what this has made me think about would be a really cool episode of fusion dishes at home, because I know a lot of us are from multicultural families, and to see the foods that we grew up with and what our parents created for us could be really interesting. So I think that would be a really cool episode. I think my favorite part of the dish is the soy milk and coconut cream sauce. It's surprising me and also just tastes sweet and a little savory. It goes really well with the pasta. It's a great sauce. And also lettuce and spaghetti also. It works. Don't knock it till you try it.
Hi Beryl, I'm Juhara. I live in the UK and I'm from Bangladesh. The dish I want to share today is Bangladeshi noodles, or in our house we like to call it yellow pasta because of its bright color.
For this pasta recipe, we're using shells, and shells are great because they are empty on the inside, so they fill up with sauce. So if you're using a saucy dish, shells are great for that. Or if you're using something with little vegetables, the little vegetables will also get caught in the hole of the shell, so that's another good way to use shell pasta.
This dish is usually made as like a snack or breakfast, and it just tastes really good first thing in the morning to have pasta. Since there's no one way of making this dish, the ingredients can be whatever you have on hand.
I think this is cool because when I think about India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, that region, I do not think about pasta dishes. So I like that this is a pasta dish from there. And I also like that Juhara said that they have this for breakfast, because pasta for breakfast, that's wild and something I've never done, but I like it. Do you ever get that feeling when something touches your hand and then you don't want it touching your hand and it's like, ugh. That's how I felt just now about the salt. Ugh, it's on my fingers.
However, some components that I think is a must are onions, eggs, peas and sweet corn. The dish is like a pasta stir fry and is more on the dry side than it being saucy or soupy. It's really good to drizzle some ketchup over it or chili sauce. It just really amplifies the flavour. Whenever I visit Bangladesh, we do have this dish at least once in someone's house when we're visiting friends or family. With Bengalis, like, we love to feed and cook, and so of course something like this really showcases our culture and like our hosting and how we want to make sure our guests are comfortable and well fed before they go. Thank you so much, Beryl, for choosing my dish, and I hope you enjoy it. Bye!
It is 12 p.m. and I haven't had breakfast yet, so technically this is my breakfast. So pasta for breakfast is happening in a way. Whoa, I love that. I absolutely love this. This is so funky. I didn't know what to expect with this because a curry spice pasta with egg and vegetables like that, it defied what I thought of as a pasta dish, but also that's the point of this episode, to show creativity around pasta. This is so fabulous. It is spiced and flavorful. The shells are a really nice accompaniment because they're kind of thick and the vegetables are inside of the shell, which I really enjoy. Oh, the egg is in there too. That's fun. Can you see how it's filled? The peas and carrots are sweet, but it's spicy from the green chili and the red chili powder, so it's got a really nice balance of spicy and sweet. I'm obsessed. As a breakfast, like early in the morning, look, I don't know, but as a lunch, which is kind of what I'm doing, it's amazing. This would be a lot for me first thing in the morning. I'm so glad that Juhara introduced us to this dish because it's such a cool fusion dish. Using the pasta as a way to showcase her own culture is surprising, but also fabulous. And delicious. I've said it once, but I think we should do a fusion foods episode. I think it would be so interesting. So let me know in the comments if you think we should, and we can make one.
Hi everyone, my name is Sara and I live in Montreal in Quebec, Canada. And the pasta dish I'd like to share with you all today doesn't have an official name, but it's basically pasta in a Brie sauce. So it is pasta, usually a short one like fusilli or shells, in a sauce made with a whole melted wheel of Brie in it, with tomatoes, onions, garlic, spinach, tuna, and olives. The original recipe calls for black olives, but I don't really like those. I don't really think they taste like anything or add anything to the dish. So I usually just don't put them in, or I put in green olives instead.
So we're using a wheel of Brie. I mean, I'm going to use like a quarter of a wheel of Brie for this, but Sarah said we have to cut off the crust. And just so you all know, the crust of Brie is edible, but for this, we don't want the crust because we want that ooey gooey creamy Brie texture, and we don't want the crust texture. So I need to cut off the crust of this. We put it in the freezer for a minute to make it a little bit easier, but we were yapping and now I think it's kind of gotten soft again. We're gonna see how it goes. Gonna cut off the crust of this brie.
It is a great meal to have all year round because it's fairly quick and easy to make. The only finicky thing about this recipe is that you have to remove the crust from the brie, but once you've mastered that, it is pretty straightforward. And you can also make it vegetarian if you want.
I thought that was gonna be a little more difficult than it was. Definitely you want your brie to be cold if you're gonna do this. Don't let it be at room temperature because then it's just gonna get squished when you cut it. What am I looking at?
The void.
The void, the deep void. For this pasta dish, we're using fusilli, which has these tight spirals. When I did an episode with a pasta expert, she actually talked about what you should make with this pasta.
The fusilli go very well with many sauces, but the ridges, being so narrow, they cannot accommodate all the sauces. So you need to think what fits in there. So tomato sauce is amazing, but also tuna. Because it flakes, it will fit into those spaces between the ridges and will fill it up. Or even onions, because the onions will wind around the ridges and so it will help carry the sauce better.
And she did say tuna, and we're using tuna, so 10 points, Sarah.
I'm a really big fan of this recipe because I love cheese, especially brie. To me, it tastes comforting, creamy from the cheese, and also fresh from the tomato and the basil that you can add on top if you want. This dish is not particularly common across Canada, but it used to be on the website of a very famous chef in Quebec called Ricardo. Basically, if you live in Quebec, you know Ricardo. He's kind of a big deal to all of us. We even have a wax statue of him in the Quebec City's Madame Tussaud Museum, if I do recall properly.
I've never melted brie before, so I'm not really sure what this is gonna be like. I mean, brie is not like a stringy cheese pulley type of cheese. I think it's just going to be very creamy and it's gonna make a cream sauce. But it's also, well, it's kind of breaking down. I think I need more cheese. My God, I need half of a wheel of brie. Yeah, that melted down.
My aunt is actually the one who introduced me to this recipe because she knew I would like it. And now it's a staple in our entire family. While it's maybe not the most aesthetically pleasing recipe visually, and it might also scandalize some pasta purists, I think you should try this out because it is so delicious. And honestly, who doesn't want to eat an entire wheel of brie? I certainly am always down for that. So thank you so much for including me, Beryl. I am a big fan of the channel and I hope you really enjoy this. Bon appétit!
My whole house smells like melted brie cheese. Like this is like a cheesemonger shop in here now. You know, a little brie goes a long way, but a lot of brie goes a longer way. Yep. That's like a very fancy mac and cheese. If you like the taste of brie, which is like a mild to stronger tasting cheese, I think that you would love this pasta because it's all about the brie. And the tuna goes in really well with it. I personally love canned tuna. Leia doesn't because she's not a good cat, but I think it tastes really good with the cheese. It's an interesting combination. I know you're not supposed to put seafood and cheese together, but tuna, canned tuna, I think doesn't count in that category because a tuna melt is delicious. Fresh basil just feels like summer, and I love that. The cherry tomatoes are bursting with flavor. I kind of like the raw ones that I put on top more than the soft ones that are cooked inside. And Sarah said that too, that she didn't love like an ultra soft cooked tomato, so to cook them for not that long, but I left them in the pan a little bit long because I was not paying attention. I think if you're doing pasta for dinner one night and you want something that's very different but still very comforting and cozy, this is definitely a good way to go. And I also understand now why you have to cut the crust off of the brie because it's just about the brie becomes the sauce. And you don't want that like crust to be in the sauce. You wouldn't want that. Super simple to make, ingredients that are really easily accessible, and I would say this is a good pasta night.
Hi Beryl, my name is Eileen. I live in Connecticut in the United States. The dish that I'd like to introduce today is called Kasha Varnishkes, or buckwheat and pasta in English. This recipe originated in Eastern Europe and is a common side dish for many Ashkenazi Jewish families.
Gosh, I need to sharpen my knives. Oh my gosh, okay. Take a break. I need to sharpen these. This knife sharpener, not sponsored by Chef's Choice, is one of the best kitchen tools I have. Obviously, I don't use it often enough because my knives are never sharp enough, although they're about to be super sharp. This was a wedding present. I'll leave a link to it in the description. But a sharp knife is a safe knife, everybody. Dull knives cut off fingers. So sharpen your knives. This is a fabulous one. I love it. I'm sharpening the rest of my knife now. Take two with a sharp knife. Woo! Yeah, baby. Like butter.
You'll see it at holidays, Shabbat dinners, or as a side dish just about any night of the week.
I am no stranger to kasha. When I lived in Russia, I had it for breakfast with butter on top many, many days of the week. It is a staple of Russian cuisine. I did not realize that it was also a staple in the Ashkenazi community, but it kind of makes sense. The other thing I want to say is Eileen's dish. We were a little bit worried about getting the right type of kasha. It's literally on the package. This is the dish that we are making. They advertised the kasha for this recipe, so I think we got the right type of buckwheat.
It is a simple and delicious dish consisting of buckwheat, fried onions, and rendered chicken fat, and typically uses farfalle for pasta.
For this dish, we're using farfalle, which means little butterflies, and you can tell because they kind of look like butterfly wings. The ridges on farfalle, I don't know why I just put an accent on it. I didn't do it the first time. The ridges on farfalle are good for catching things, so it would be perfect for this kasha dish. So we're using schmaltz for this recipe, and if you've never heard of schmaltz, which I think, it's not that common, it is rendered chicken fat. This is kosher, so it's used in a lot of Jewish cooking. It has a distinct flavor that's different from butter, but it's very delicious. I haven't cooked with it in a long time, but I've eaten it recently, so it's exciting that I get to cook with it.
The folds in the farfalle help to trap the small bits of browned onion and kasha.
The kitchen smells like chicken in a good way. It's so interesting how just everything smells like chicken in here.
I enjoy this dish because of its easy preparation. It reminds me of family get-togethers, and it's just delicious.
Looks like ground beef.
It does.
Looks like the photo. The ratio looks good. Okay.
I hope you enjoy making and eating this classic Ashkenazi dish.
That looks the same as the photo on the box, so aces. A kasha pasta is not something I ever thought of combining. Kasha to me is a breakfast food, so I'm interested to try them together. That's so interesting. The schmaltz has a really strong flavor in this, stronger than in other dishes that I've had, and the onions are sweet, which I really like. This is interesting because you think it's vegetarian and then you taste chicken. I like using bow tie pasta for this because it picks up the little buckwheat pearls, and so it's kind of carrying them into your mouth. They're all kind of resting nicely on top of the pasta noodle. If you're interested in trying this and you can't find schmaltz or want to make it vegetarian, you absolutely could use butter with this and a vegetable stock. I use chicken stock. Oh, that's also probably why it's really chickeny. The chicken stock and the schmaltz. I kind of forgot about the chicken stock that we cooked the buckwheat in. Anyway, you can make this vegetarian very easily. And if you've never tried kasha, I recommend it. It's a really interesting grain. You have to cook it for a long time for it to be soft, but once it is done cooking, it's got a bit of a nutty flavor. It's soft to eat, but not mushy. It's great. My mom does not really like it though, to be fair. My dad loves kasha. He grew up eating it for breakfast like every morning in his household. If I was to do this again, I would add way more onion. I love the sweetness of the onion in this. I cut the recipe in half, and the full recipe asks for 3 onions, and I used 1 large onion, but I think if you're gonna do this, you could go heavy on the onion. The schmaltz on the noodles is kind of like a fancy buttered noodle dish. It's very fatty in a way. My lips are glistening, I feel like, from all the schmaltz. But overall, I think this is super delicious and something different for me to have tried. I hope you enjoyed learning about these pasta dishes from around the world and seeing how creative people can be. Pasta, as we've learned, is not just for marinara sauce. There are a myriad of options for it. Don't forget that all the recipes are on my website, beryl.nyc, and like and subscribe, it helps support the channel. Until next week, I'm leaving you with 2 other episodes in this pasta universe, and I will see you all in my next episode.